Good morning, everyone. This is Jeffy Kennedy, author of fantasy romance and romantic fantasy. I'm here with my first cup of coffee, which is actually not all that satisfying. It's green tea this morning, and I didn't get the water hot enough. Alas. Today's Monday, March 21st. It's my stepdaughter's birthday today. Happy birthday, Lauren. So, how was your weekend? Mine was good. Mine was good. Rejuvenating. I did stay unplugged almost entirely yesterday. I did turn on the laptop in order to set up a Zoom call with my husband's siblings. And so we did a cocktail hour with them. And it was fun. All right, take two. I went ahead and made some coffee and I boiled hot water and tried rejuvenating my green tea. So I'm going to let that steep. All right, so let's try that first cup of coffee. Ah, that's so much better. All right, so Monday. Going at it with renewed vim and vigor, hopefully. I didn't quite get 2K per day every day last week. I actually did about the same as I did the previous week, which is interesting. The previous week I got 89.60, and last week I got 87.64, so not quite as good. And that was the previous week was going for 3K per day, which I still didn't do. But I think I'm going to do another week of trying to do 2K per day and see what happens. Thursday, I hit tired and didn't get much. And then Friday, I did better, but I still got just 1,500. I don't even remember. Fridays feels like a long time ago. I was not getting many per hour on Friday. I don't know what my problem was. 402, 615, and 502 were my 3 word count averages. Oh, that's right. So for that third hour, I actually went back and revised the prologue in chapter 1 because I sent those off to the Romantic Fantasy Shelf is organizing a benefit anthology for Ukraine. And they had asked me if I would contribute something, but they wanted like a 5,000 word short story. And reader, I do not do 5,000 word short stories. And I didn't really have anything that I could give them. And they said, well, Miranda Honfleur and Jessica Fry have been organizing this. They said what we're asking some of our authors to do, and they were very flattering to me. So that always works. Where they said something about me being like a leader in the field, and I don't know what all, but it was like, oh, and besides, I wanted to help. But they said you could give us the first chapter of your work in progress, and then it's a sneak peek for the readers. And I was like, oh, because you guys know I just don't normally show stuff until I'm done, especially since sometimes my first chapter changes. So, but they're putting the caveat in there, and I think that this first chapter won't change that much. Of course, now I'm totally paranoid that it sucks and everybody will hate it. But when I went back to revise, and I spent an hour revising the prologue in chapter 1, which together are pretty close to 5,000 words. Let us just see what they are. That's why I love Excel. I notice that Excel is telling me now that I can ask it to analyze my data without all those troublesome complicated formulas, which I think is kind of funny. It's like, I know how to use formulas. 4,500 words between the two. So yeah, that's what I did. I didn't want to send it as is, and so I went and revised. And I didn't end up changing a whole lot, so for what it's worth. I could have put a little dollop of cream in this and it would have been better. Is it terrible if I pop off and fix my coffee yet again? It's a Monday. I'm going to do that. Okay, you guys will be relieved to know that I'm finally happy now. So much better. That even if I do just a tiny little spoonful of cream, it just helps take the edge off. So, yeah, it was kind of a different weekend. I ended up running a lot of errands. For those of you who watched the podcast on Friday, you will know that our car is probably totaled. David got rear-ended. Um, we haven't gotten the final word yet, but that's what everybody is predicting. So we shall see. I suppose there's a possibility that it will be repairable, but I think we'll probably find out today. Um, so on Saturday, um, David was feeling, I mean, he was sad. He goes out and drives for Uber a lot on the weekends, and he was kind of feeling at loose ends. And kind of, I mean, it is a loss, right? I mean, I know that like a car is an inanimate object, but he went out Friday morning and got all his stuff out of the car, and he said it looked kind of sad being there in the tow lot, left left alone. He said, we've had that car for 5 years, and he's spent a lot of time in it. So Saturday I had a board meeting for Sefwa at 11. So we kind of hung out in the morning, took it easy, bread and stuff. And then I did the board meeting and gave them notes for the 1 o'clock Nebula conference planning meeting. And instead I skipped out with David and we went and looked at cars. We went out for lunch. That was very nice. And we went to CarMax, the inevitable stop, and we went to Toyota to look at their Camrys. And we went out to the Tesla dealership because we were thinking maybe of going electric or hybrid. Um, but the cost for the car is probably, like even a used hybrid car is probably going to be a lot more expensive than what we want to spend. So we did a lot of number crunching. We do have a Jeep, and he's going to see about maybe being able to drive the Jeep. If we don't have the car payment, the Camry was almost paid off. We would have had it paid off by like November of this year. So doesn't that just figure? The good news is we don't owe much on it. But we, if we're not paying insurance and not the car payment, then that frees up some money each month. And he figured out that it cost him something like 13 cents a mile to drive the Camry, and it'll cost 19 cents a mile to drive the Jeep. So it's not terrible difference. So we're going to see how that works. We're going to see if he can drive that for Uber. He has to get it inspected and everything, but probably have to put a new battery in it. But we're going to see how that works for a while, and then maybe see if we could save up cash for a hybrid. So that's the plan. We could finance it maybe. One of the things about, and I don't know if other people talk about this, well, so, David and I are both basically on freelance income at this point in time. With him driving for Uber, he does get a small retirement stipend because he took early retirement, and he has his Social Security, which is also not a lot. and I'm the major wage earner now. But one of the I don't the downsides, one of the odd parts about being a writer, especially if you're self-publishing, is people don't want to give you loans. It's hard to get financing for stuff. And Grace Draven and I were talking about this not long ago because she's looking at getting another traditional publishing contract for a standalone. She says she's not going to do a series again, but she does have an idea that she gave our agent, because we have the same agent, and possibly go on submission with that. And the major reason for her to go, and I was surprised because Grace was like, I don't want to go trad ever again because she hates the externally imposed deadline. She doesn't feel like she makes as much money. In fact, she's calculated she doesn't make as much money on trad. But if you're getting paid by somebody else, if you have a contract like that, it's easier to get credit, to get financing for stuff. Isn't that funny? Whereas if you have freelance income where you're just making money, like from Amazon selling stuff, selling your books on Amazon, they don't even care how much you're making each month. They don't want to give you a loan. So I guess it makes you go to more of a pay by cash, which is good. Um, but yeah, funny thing. So we shall see on the cars. We did have three, which is arguably one too many for two people. The thing is our other car is my 96 Jag convertible, which doesn't do great on snow and ice. So it's a bit of a limitation there. But the car's in great shape. So somebody the other day called it my vintage Jag. They were saying, Jeffy drives a vintage Jag. And I thought, this is one of the things about and I feel like I'm middle aged, but it's like getting up there in years. It's like when I bought the car, it was not vintage. So it's just funny how things in your life become vintage over time. And I was trying to think about how old my stepdaughter is today, and I think she's 40. I think she's turning 40 today. So and when we were having the cocktail hour with David's siblings last night, it was we were just talking about the ages of the various grandchildren and so forth. And uh, Kathy, his older sister, her granddaughter is they're taking her to Blackhawk, Colorado, to the casinos for her birthday. And I said, yeah, but is she old enough to go to a casino? And I was joking, but they're like, yeah, she's 25. So anyway, uh, so it was fun going out and looking at the cars and seeing what was available. And we do have a couple of salespeople looking for something good for us. Apparently, hybrid cars are moving pretty fast with the gas prices, so no surprise there. And let's see what else. Oh, and then Saturday night, I did the live stream, the YouTube live stream for the group that is doing the campaign to combat violence against women, VAW. And I will include the link in the show notes because they have part of their fundraiser. I'm giving away several things. So you can get a Tuckerization from me. And I forgot to talk about this before the live stream because I suck. But you get a Tuckerization is something that you can purchase, and that means that you get to have your name in one of my future books as a secondary character. Although what's funny is Karen Hardy in The Arrows of the Heart, that's her book. She started out as she was a Tuckerization that a guy bought for his wife from another fundraiser, and so that was her name. And so that's where when I she was originally a very minor character. I thought she was probably only going to be mentioned, and then I thought she was only going to have a cameo, and then she ended up having her own book. So you never know. I'm also offering a 30-minute Zoom chat coaching or just to shoot the breeze, and also a critique of first 5,000 words of a chapter or some such. So I will put that link in the show notes, but really great group. They're pretty awesome and well worth bidding on those things. So yeah, we ended up staying up late Saturday night, which is just kind of funny for me. Um, that's like a big deal. But after the live stream, I hadn't wanted to eat before it because we'd been out like running around. We'd had lunch out, right? And I wasn't hungry before. I just be there for the live cast by like 6:30. So David made us dinner afterwards, so we ate late, which is also very unusual for us. And we watched The Truman Show, and I was enjoying watching that. I hadn't watched it for a long time, so we ended up staying up and watching the whole thing. So I stayed up till like 11. I know, right? And then slept in Sunday morning, so that was lovely. And then, as I mentioned, I stayed offline all day yesterday, so that was restful. I got a lot of things done. I went and bought my sweet pea seeds, which I am going to plant today. The tradition in my family, at least it comes from my grandmother. I don't know if my grandmother got it from anyone, is that you soak the sweet pea seeds in buttermilk overnight, and you're supposed to plant them on St. Patrick's Day. I didn't do. Obviously, I missed planting on St. Patrick's Day, but I figure as long as I observe that particular timing, the magic still works. It's funny because some of you who have been watching the podcast for a long time may recall 2 springs ago in March of 2020 when I could not get sweet pea seeds. I looked everywhere for them, and I was planting them late because we'd been in lockdown, of course. And it, and it, oddly enough, my little local neighborhood hardware store, which has a whole lot of stuff that we need, they had tons and tons of seeds, and they had one packet of sweet pea seeds, only one kind. And I even asked the guy who owns the store, and he's like, I think there's it's like they buy the collection, but the collection did not contain sweet pea seeds. So I went out to the nursery, my favorite nursery here in Santa Fe, Newman's, and they had tons. So there is not a sweet pea shortage. I want you all to be aware that we're okay. So I'll get those planted today on one of my writing breaks. And I got some of my pictures framed. Let's see the little witch that Corrine gave me. And there's too much glare on the one above from the window, but that's a new piece that I got, a unicorn. I had to pause to sneeze there. Our tree pollen is now high, officially high. So it begins. And I also framed the piece that you gave me for Christmas, Mom. So that's hanging up. So, like lots of little things. I got a lot of that kind of stuff done. This was my to-do list from yesterday because I wrote it on paper so I wouldn't have to go turn on my laptop to look. So I got quite a few things done. You'll notice quite a few are crossed off, not everything. But so anyway, yeah, I guess I don't have a whole lot to say today. But the one thing that about doing the YouTube live cast is one of the gals said that she really liked listening to the first cup of coffee, and she was like, it's just like having a little chat over coffee. And I said, that's exactly what I'm going for. So I hope that it was a good little chat for you guys too. And I will talk to you all tomorrow. Take care. Bye bye.